Imagine wake up tomorrow and discovering that you are no longer poor. You have money, power, respect. People who once ignored you now bow before you. Sounds like a dream, right? But what if the biggest obstacle to changing your life is not your situation? What if the biggest obstacle is the person you still believe you are? An old story tells us about a beggar who became a king overnight. He finally got everything he ever wanted. But there was one problem. He still thought like a beggar. Long ago, in a distant kingdom, there lived a man named Elias. He had no family, no money, no home. Every day he walked through the streets asking strangers for food. People ignored him. Some looked down on him. Some believed he was simply unlucky. But deep inside, Elias had a dream. He often looked at the royal palace on the hill and thought, what would my life be like if I were powerful? One day, something unexpected happened. The kingdom's ruler died without an heir. The advisors faced a difficult problem. Who should become the next king? According to an old tradition, they would choose someone from among ordinary people. They believed, perhaps a person without power will understand the suffering of common people. The royal guards searched throughout the kingdom, and strangely, they found Elias, the poor beggar sleeping beside the street. The advisors studied him. They saw kindness in him. They saw honesty. They believed he had the qualities of a wise ruler. When Elias heard the news, he thought it was a joke. Me? The king? Impossible. But after many discussions, the decision was made. The beggar became the new ruler. The entire kingdom changed overnight. The man who once had nothing now had everything. A palace, servants, fine clothes, the respect of thousands. People who once ignored him now called him, Your Majesty. At first, Elias was happy. He thought, my old life is finally over. But slowly, something strange began to happen. When advisors suggested important decisions, he became nervous. What if I make the wrong choice? What if people discover I am not a real king? He started avoiding difficult decisions. He asked others to decide for him. When he saw wealthy nobles wearing expensive clothes, he felt inferior. He thought, they belong here. I do not. The palace was filled with luxury, but inside, Elias still felt like the same man sleeping on the street. One day, a servant accidentally spilled wine near him. The servant immediately apologized. The old Elias would have been afraid, but now he became angry. Do you know who I am? I am the king. The room became silent because everyone realized something. Elias had gained the power of a king, but he had not developed the mind of one. Years later, enemies threatened the kingdom. The advisors needed a strong leader, someone confident, someone who could inspire people. But Elias hesitated. He was still afraid of losing respect, afraid of failure, afraid of being exposed. Eventually, he lost the trust of the people, not because he was born poor, not because he lacked intelligence, but because he never truly believed he deserved the position he had. This story reveals something important. Changing your circumstances is easier than changing your identity. Many people believe, if I get more money, I will become confident. If I get a better job, I will become successful. If people respect me, I will respect myself. But often, the opposite happens. Your external life can change overnight, but your internal beliefs take much longer. A person who believes they are powerless will find ways to remain powerless, even when opportunities appear. A person who believes they are capable will find ways to grow, even when difficulties appear. The biggest prison is not always outside us. Sometimes it is the story we repeat inside our own mind. Think about someone who wins a large amount of money. Many people believe, if I became rich, all my problems would disappear. But statistics show many sudden wealth winners struggle afterward. Why? Because money changes their situation, but it does not automatically change their habits, their relationship with money, their decision making, their emotional control. The same happens in careers. A person receives a promotion. Suddenly they become a manager, but they still think like an employee. They avoid responsibility. They fear making decisions. They wait for others to tell them what to do. The title changed, but the identity did not. This also happens in personal growth. Someone escapes a difficult environment. They get a new opportunity, but they continue carrying old beliefs. I am not good enough. I don't belong here. I will probably fail. Sometimes the opportunity is not the problem. The problem is that they are still living as their old self. Lesson 1. Your past explains you, but it does not define you. Where you come from matters, but where you go depends on who you choose to become. Lesson 2. Prepare yourself before success arrives. Many people want opportunities, but they do not prepare for the responsibility that comes with them. Success is not only a reward, it is also a test. Lesson 3. Change your identity, not only your situation. Do not only ask, what do I want to have? Ask, who do I need to become? Because lasting success begins from inside. Elias spent his whole life wanting to escape poverty. Eventually, he did. But he discovered something unexpected. The hardest person to escape was himself, because the biggest walls are not always made of stone. Sometimes they are made from fear, doubt, and old beliefs. A person can sit in a palace and still feel like a prisoner. A person can have little and still feel powerful. The difference is not always what they own. It is how they see themselves. Welcome to Human Nature Chronicles. Here we explore ancient stories, human psychology, and timeless lessons from history. Because every story from the past reveals something about ourselves today. If this story gave you a new perspective, consider subscribing. Every week, we explore stories about human nature, choices, and personal growth. Thank you for watching. Remember, before you change your world, you must first change the way you see yourself.